Hi, I'm happy to welcome you all to the today's English class, and in the today's class we are going to discuss the next chapter in our English textbook. The next chapter in our English textbook is a story. The title of the story is The Railway Children. Actually, the word Railway Children is a novel which was written by the author Edith Nesbit. But here in our English textbook, they have given one of the chapters of the novel The Railway Children. It was the chapter 2. The Railway Children is one of the very famous stories written by Edith Nesbit for children. Edith Nesbit was a famous British novelist and short story writer. She has written a great number of novels for children, and this is one of her collections. In this story, we are going to see how the family got accustomed with the new environment. They moved from a place to other place, and we are going to see how they have got settled in that place. That's what we are going to discuss in this story. Before getting into the story, we need to know the characters of the story. The characters of the story are the mother. She was a talented poetess and a writer. And Bobby. Actually, her name was Roberta, but here they have given her nickname Bobby. Bobby was the oldest daughter. She was the oldest one among 3 children. And the second one is the Peter. Peter was the only boy and he was the middle child. He was fearless and he always wanted to be a leader of everyone. And the last one, Phyllis. She is the youngest daughter and she is the youngest one among 3 children. And Mrs. Winnie. Mrs. Winnie is the housekeeper. And then the last and important character, the station master. He was a strict person but has a kind heart. He has a kind heart. Actually, we have a lot of characters. More than 10 characters in the actual novel, The Railway Children. But here in our story, the important characters, only 6. These 6 characters are mentioned in our English textbook. So we will go upon with these characters. And the story I told you, they have moved from a place to a place. The family, Bobby, Peter, Phyllis, with their mother, they moved from London. They once lived in a villa. Villa is a large country house. They lived in the villa in London, and then they moved to 3 chimneys. The 3 chimneys in Yorkshire. From London, they moved to Yorkshire. In Yorkshire, they lived at the 3 chimneys, a house near the railway line. Why have they moved from London to Yorkshire? The father of the 3 was imprisoned. But the children, they don't know what was the reason. And here at the 3 chimneys, the children, they were not able to attend the school. But you know what? They didn't complain anything. Because they knew the current situation. I told you, mother was a talented poetess and a writer. And whenever she writes stories, she used to lock up her room. She used to stay in her room to write stories, and her room was in upstairs, and she used to read out her wonderful stories to her children during the tea time. Her children loved to listen to that stories. Their new surroundings were so beautiful, with rocks, trees, hills, valleys, canals, and the new railway. You know what? Children have forgotten their villa in London. But now and then, mother reminded them that they were poor. When they were in London with their father, they were pretty rich. But when father was imprisoned, they moved from London to Yorkshire to lead a normal life. But the children, they didn't mind about that. Because they had enough food to eat and clothes to wear. So they didn't mind that. It was June. It rained very hard for 3 days. It made the climate very chill. and the family faced a hard time. Inside the house, it was very cold. So Peter went to his mother and asked her, "Mother, can we light a fire?" "Peter, we cannot afford to light a fire as coal is very expensive." And at the other end, Phyllis, she was eating bread with butter and jam. And there, mother went near her and said, "Phyllis, my dear, we cannot have both butter and jam on bread. You can have either butter or jam on the bread." Peter was all silent that day. He was just thinking about how to bring more coal because it was so cold. And all of a sudden, Peter had a brilliant idea. He said to his sisters, "I am going on an adventure all by myself. Don't tell anyone. If mother asks, tell her I am playing at mines." "What sort of mines?" Phyllis asked Peter. And Peter replied, "Coal mines. If I really find the mines, you can come along to push the cart." Peter's idea is about bringing the coal from the coal mine. But actually, there was no mine nearby. They had railway station. And in that railway station, they had a large heaps of coal for the train. 2 days later, Peter called his sisters, Bobby and Phyllis. "Come with me and bring the Roman chariot." He asked, "Roman chariot? What's a Roman chariot?" Roman chariot is nothing but a cart. A cart which looks like this. It's called Roman chariot. Once they had brought the Roman chariot, Peter led them down the hill to the station. Peter led them to the railway station. And on that way, he said, "Follow your fearless leader." They reached the station and Peter said it was St. Peter's mine. Actually, it was the railway station, but he said it was St. Peter's mine. St. Peter was his name, so he used it as St. Peter's mine. But actually, it was a railway station. And he showed them we had heaps of coals here and we could brought it to our home using the Roman chariot. Just above the station, some rocks were pushed aside and in the hollow between them lay the heaps of coal. The 3 children, they picked up the heaps of coal and filled the Roman chariot and brought it back to home. And on their way, it was too heavy to push the cart up the hill. So they had to make 3 trips to get the coal to their house. And finally, they added the coal to the heap of mother's coal in the cellar. Cellar is the basement of the house. Usually, in every house, they use it to keep coal in the basement. And the same way, the 3 children had brought up the coal from the station to their house and they kept it in the cellar, where mother had kept heaps of coal. They have added to it. On seeing the heaps of coal, Mrs. Winnie, the housekeeper, she went straight to mother and said, "We have large amount of coal. The last lot of coal is holding out so well." She informed mother that the last portion of coal was too large and we have a lot of coal. The children were happy and they started to do it in a usual manner. Frequently they were going there and bringing up the coal to the cellar. But mother, she didn't know anything about it. In the railway station, the station master, he found out that heaps of coal getting low day by day. So he planned to catch that thief. In one night, the station master, he hid himself in the shadow and was looking at the heaps of coal to find out who's the culprit, the thief. And in that day, knowing nothing, Peter came there and started filling up his chariot with the heaps of coal. And suddenly the station master, he came there and caught Peter and said, "So I have caught you at last, you young thief." Peter replied the station master, I am not a thief, I am a coal miner. He said that he was a coal miner. And the station master was very strict and said, stop talking, come along to the station. Peter was caught and he was about to go to station. We will find it out in the next class. That's the end of today's class. Thank you for watching this video.